Hey everyone, sorry for the delay in vlogs. I thought it would be a good idea to do a follow-up to one of my very first vlogs about my ex-boyfriend who transitioned into a woman. There have been a large amount of responses to that video, so I thought I might answer some of the questions. One of the questions that I get asked a lot was, did he transition while I was dating him? No, he did not. He was a man, or a boy, because we were teenagers back then. I kind of knew that he was interested in dressing like a woman. Because I was 17 and coming into terms with my own sexuality, I requested that he not share that part of him with me. In hindsight, it was a bit of a bad decision because I was still uncomfortable with my own sexuality and I didn't really want to sort of be associated with something that was at the time a negative stereotype. He transitioned, I think it was roughly around about 8 years after we had broken up. Another question that I get asked is, was he a drag queen? No, he wasn't a drag queen. I have a number of friends who are drag queens, and it's more of a performance art. It isn't actually a sexually or a sexual based thrill of enjoyment for them. I was asked if I'd ever date a trans man. My answer to that is, you know what, I think possibly. I have been thinking about that over the past year, and I think it is a possibility based on who the person is and whether or not we share a lot in common and if we fall in love. If I fell in love with a man and found out that he was trans, that is something that I would definitely consider, think about, and have a discussion with them about. A lot of my comments in my first video were a little bit ignorant at the time because I didn't know that much about the trans community, mainly because transgendered people do not see themselves as part of the gay community. They might in some instances where a transgendered female once identified as gay because that's the only way that they could intellectualize how they felt. But after that, then they become part of the trans community. One thing that I've found hard with having trans friends is after they reach a certain stage in their transition, a lot of them decide to go stealth. Stealth is where you reject or close the chapter of your previous gender. They no longer identify with their previous gender, which means that they do not feel the need to identify with that former self. A lot of the times, this can cause them to close down social networks that were once tied to their transitional period, such as YouTube accounts or Facebook accounts. And sometimes this means that if they're not really close to you, you might lose contact with them forever. At the time, I did not know many transgendered people. My understanding of what was going on or what he was telling me was very limited. That vlog was mainly my emotional response to the news that I received, and I kind of said a lot of things that weren't exactly accurate. Since then, I've talked to her on the phone, and me and her have resolved our differences that we had since 1997. And we had a very good chat and a very good catch up, and it was kind of interesting to learn of my very first boyfriend in a new light as a woman. One of the things that I found hard at the time and sort of still find a little bit difficult is the fact that that person no longer exists. I can't sort of meet up and think, oh wow, you've grown up into a man, or like, you know, from a boy to a man, or I don't know, that person no longer exists. They are now a new entity. So I kind of went through a bit of a mourning period where I came to terms with the loss of that person. But in actual fact, I also gained a friend that I had thought that I lost. So that was kind of a bonus. Since then, I have made so many trans friends. They are some of the most amazing people. They have been through great adversity. They've faced so much pain and so much like internal conflict that's made them quite intelligent people, and I respect them for that. Through this experience, I've definitely become an ally. It's one of those things where you sort of make actions and do things that aren't really necessary, and you think that you're being big about it and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna protect them and da-da-da. But in actual fact, they probably don't need any assistance. But I don't know, I like to feel like I'm making a difference. That being said, I've become a lot more accepting of people and a lot more accepting of who I am as a person. And I don't care whenever I think that I like something that might be considered a bit gay or a bit feminine or anything like that. I'm okay with it now. My advice is, if you don't understand something, or something's so far out of your comfort zone that it scares you or makes you uneasy, learn as much as you can about it to normalize what it is and then make a intelligent decision. Please, if you have any more questions about this, I'll do another follow-up video, hopefully more recent than 12 months. Oh, and have a great week, and I'll see you on Friday on the Next Door Boys channel, which you can click here to have a look at.